Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're unpacking the absolutely critical steps to renewing your Tennessee Notary Commission without missing a single beat. You know, your notary seal is literally your professional lifeline. But letting that commission lapse, well, as we're going to see, that leads to some immediate, severe consequences you absolutely want to avoid. So let's jump right in.
Let's kick things off with a pretty huge question. What exactly happens if you let your 4-year commission lapse, but you just kind of keep on notarizing documents? I mean, you might be thinking, hey, there's got to be a little bit of a grace period to get my paperwork sorted out, right? Actually, no. Tennessee offers zero grace period, none. Acting on an expired commission is straight up a Class C misdemeanor. And this right here is exactly why starting your renewal process 10 weeks early is absolutely essential. You definitely don't want to inadvertently commit a crime just because a simple deadline slipped your mind. So here is our roadmap for today. We're going to guide you through this bureaucratic maze by covering the overview and important deadlines, checking your renewal eligibility, preparing and submitting your documents, paying fees and finalizing, some common FAQs and practical tips, and finally, a quick conclusion and legal disclaimer. All right, Section 1, Overview and Important Deadlines. Let's take a look at the big picture of your renewal timeline. There are basically 5 main steps in this procedural arc. We're talking about taking you from your initial eligibility check all the way to your final oath of office. Now, it might look like a whole lot of red tape at first glance, but breaking it down step by step makes it incredibly manageable. Moving on to Section 2, checking your renewal eligibility. Because before you fill out a single piece of paperwork, you've got to make sure you still legally qualify to hold this office of public trust. Interestingly enough, renewing requires you to meet the exact same standards as your very first application. You have to verify, under penalty of perjury, that you still hit these baselines. This means you're at least 18 years old, you're a U.S. citizen or a legal permanent resident, you maintain a Tennessee residence or principal business in the county, you can read and write English, and you have a totally clean criminal and professional record. That means absolutely no infamous crimes or unpaid treasury judgments. Okay, Section 3. Preparing and submitting documents. This is where we navigate those strict local deadlines. This timeline really hits the nail on the head as to why you must start early. 10 weeks out, you need to obtain and fill out your application. By 8 weeks out, that application has to be notarized by a current notary and submitted to the county clerk. Now, you might be wondering, why so early? Well, your local county legislative body actually has to meet and vote to elect you between 4 and 6 weeks out. Only after all of that, right at the 2-week mark, does the Secretary of State actually issue your commission.
Now, here is one of the biggest hurdles. Fees and meeting schedules vary wildly across Tennessee's 95 counties. It's like a giant puzzle. For instance, look at Davidson County compared to Shelby County. Davidson requires a $12 fee and submission exactly 2 weeks prior to a bi-monthly meeting. But Shelby, they charge $16, meet monthly, and require you to apply a full 10 weeks prior to expiration. Knox County is different too. So checking the specific rules for your local county is absolutely vital. Let's move into Section 4, paying fees and finalizing. It's time to make this whole thing official.
So a really crucial point to remember here is the $10,000 requirement. You are legally required to purchase a $10,000 surety bond. And keep in mind, this isn't insurance to protect you, it's strictly to protect the public from any errors you might happen to make. The bond itself is actually quite affordable, usually around $40, but having that $10,000 in coverage is totally non-negotiable.
Beyond that local county application fee, which usually runs anywhere from $12 to $19, you'll need to budget for your $40 bond and a brand new official notary stamp. Here's a fun little quirk. Your new stamp has to be any color other than black or yellow, but it still has to photocopy as black. Pretty interesting, right? And finally, while it's completely optional, picking up an errors and omissions insurance policy is highly recommended just to protect your own personal assets.
To wrap the whole shebang up, you can't just drop this in the mail. You have to physically take your bond down to the county clerk's office, file it, and swear your oath of office in person. It's a sworn pledge to support the Constitution and faithfully discharge your duties. Once that is done, you'll receive your certificate and boom, you are ready to notarize for another 4 years.
All right, Section 5, Notary FAQs and Practical Tips. Let's cover some common midterm changes and specialized situations.
Look, life happens. We all get busy. But what is the exact protocol if your renewal date actually passes before you finish the process? Well, because there is absolutely no grace period in Tennessee. You must reapply from scratch as a brand new notary. And remember our warning from earlier. You have to stop all notarizations immediately. No exceptions. You absolutely cannot perform any notarial acts during that gap.
Here's another great question we see a lot. Can I renew if I move? Let's explore how changing your address impacts your commission and your ability to actually renew.
You really want to pay close attention to the state line boundary rule here. Moving across county lines within Tennessee, no big deal. You just notify your original county clerk, pay a tiny $7 fee, and your commission remains valid statewide. But moving out of Tennessee entirely, that means immediate disqualification, and you must surrender your commission right away.
What if you get married or legally change your name? You might be wondering how that affects things. Spoiler alert, you can't just keep using your old stamp like nothing happened.
Instead, you'll need to formally request a new commission reflecting your new name through your county clerk to the Secretary of State. You pay a $5 fee, and most importantly, you have to obtain a brand new compliance seal that matches your new legal name before you resume your duties.
Now, if you're renewing a remote online notary or RON commission, there are a few extra steps. Remember, you absolutely must renew your traditional commission first. Then you'll need to complete an SOS-approved education course, contract with an approved RON tech vendor, submit an online application with a $75 state fee, and rigidly follow the law by keeping your audio-visual recordings and e-journals for a full 5 years.
And finally, Section 6, Conclusion and Legal Disclaimer. Let's wrap up with some final thoughts.
Please note that all this information is accurate as of August 2026. The ultimate takeaway from everything we've covered today is to always start that process 10 weeks early. And always verify exact deadlines, fees, and requirements with your official local county clerk. Staying proactive is hands down the best way to protect your status. So will you be starting your renewal today or risking that Class C misdemeanor? Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and I'll catch you next time.